Hey, I'm Ben, and I'm here to tell you that you are likely chasing a ghost. You have been sold a lie that says the only way to win the game of money is to have infinite money. You scroll through TikTok or Instagram and see people buying private jets, owning islands, and flashing watches that cost more than your parents' house. And your brain defaults to a dangerous setting. You start thinking that is the goal. You start thinking that 10 million, 20 million, or 100 million is the safety number. But I am here to help you deprogram that endless anxiety because the truth is, you don't actually want $1 billion. You want what you think $1 billion will buy you, and those are two very different things. Let's get real about the trap of infinite more. We are living in an era of extreme financial dysmorphia. A study from late 2024 by Credit Karma revealed that nearly 43% of Gen Z and millennials suffer from this specific type of anxiety, where they feel financially behind even if their savings are actually in a healthy spot. The goalpost keeps moving. You hit six figures, and suddenly the algorithm shows you people making seven. You hit 1 million net worth, and suddenly you feel poor compared to the guy making 1 million a month. It is a treadmill that only goes faster the longer you stay on it, and it is designed to burn you out before you ever feel safe. I want to do something different right now. I want to pull the emergency brake on your brain. This is a mental stop sign. I want you to literally stop looking at the screen for a second. Don't click away. Just listen. Visualize your absolute perfect Tuesday. Not a vacation day where you are blowing 50 grand in Dubai. I mean a normal, sustainable, perfect Tuesday. You wake up without an alarm. Maybe you hit the gym. You eat a high-quality breakfast. You spend 3 hours working on a passion project that you actually care about. You pick up your kids from school, or you meet friends for a long dinner at a nice restaurant where you don't look at the prices on the menu. You go to sleep in a safe neighborhood in a comfortable bed. Now, open your eyes. That lifestyle does not cost $100 million. It doesn't even cost 50. That lifestyle is completely available to you at a specific number that is way lower than you think. And once you hit that number, every extra dollar you earn actually starts to have diminishing returns. In fact, later on, I am going to show you the specific math on why a billionaire's Tuesday isn't statistically much happier than the Tuesday of a guy with 5 million in the bank. But the billionaire has 1,000 times more stress. We are going to break down those numbers. But first, we have to agree on one thing. The goal isn't the high score. The goal is the freedom. And freedom has a price tag. The problem with hustle culture is that it glorifies the struggle but never defines the finish line. If you don't define enough, you will default to more, and more is a disease that eats your time. You are trading your most valuable asset, your youth and your energy, for a surplus of cash that you literally will not be able to spend efficiently. Think about the richest person you know personally. Not a celebrity, but a real human in your life. Do they seem relaxed, or are they constantly checking emails, stressing about lawsuits, and managing a chaotic empire? We often confuse complexity with success. We think that if we aren't suffering, we aren't winning. But what if the ultimate flex isn't having a massive corporation, but having a boring, predictable, indestructible portfolio that pays for your life without you lifting a finger? If you are tired of the goalpost moving every time you open social media, go ahead and hit the like button on this video. It tells the algorithm that we are done with the fake hustle and we are ready for real numbers. Because that is exactly what we are going to do next. We are going to take this vague, scary concept of financial freedom and turn it into a boring, simple math equation that you can actually solve. There is a way to set up a money engine that runs forever, and it requires way less capital than the gurus want you to believe. Let's strip away the emotion and look at the engine under the hood. When I say $5 million, your brain probably pictures a Scrooge McDuck vault filled with gold coins that you slowly spend until it runs out. That is the wrong mental image. If you treat your wealth like a savings account that you just withdraw from, yes, you will eventually go broke. But the wealthy do not look at $5 million as a pile of cash. They look at it as a machine that prints a salary. This brings us to the most boring but powerful concept in personal finance, the safe withdrawal rate. often called the 4% rule. This concept comes from the famous Trinity study conducted by finance professors at Trinity University. They looked at stock market data going back decades to figure out how much money you could withdraw from a portfolio every single year without ever running out of money. Even during recessions, the magic number they found was 4%. Here is the math, and I promise to keep it painless. 4% of $5 million is $200,000. That means if you have $5 million invested in a standard, low-cost index fund tracking the U.S. economy, you can cash out $200,000 every single year to pay for your life. And here's the kicker, because the U.S. market has historically returned about 7 to 10% on average over the long run, that 4% withdrawal is often covered just by the growth. You are eating the golden eggs, but you are never killing the goose. In many scenarios, 30 years later, you would actually have more than $5 million left in the account, even after paying yourself a six-figure salary for doing absolutely nothing. Now, I can feel some of you typing angrily in the comments right now, so let's address the elephant in the room. This is the inflation slap. You're thinking, but Ben, $5 million isn't what it used to be. And you are right. If we look at the purchasing power of the dollar, $5 million back in 1990 had the purchasing power of roughly $12 million today. So, no, $5 million does not buy you a super yacht and a private island anymore. That fantasy is dead. But let's clear the fog. We aren't talking about living like a Bond villain. We are talking about never having to answer a Slack message or sit in rush hour traffic ever again. Is $200,000 a year really struggling? The median household income in the U.S. as of 2024 was hovering around $80,000. With a $5 million portfolio, you are pulling in more than double the average American household. And you have reclaimed 100% of your time. You have bought your life back. That is the trade. Most people fail to understand this because they are addicted to the lump sum number. They want to see 10 million or 50 million on the screen. But the Forever Money engine doesn't care about the high score. It cares about the cash flow. If you can generate 200 grand a year without working, you are functionally retired. You have won the game. Why keep playing on hard mode just to see the score go up? However, there is a secret variable here that changes everything. You might be looking at your current paycheck of, say, 70 or 80 grand, and thinking that 200 grand sounds nice but maybe not rich. But you are forgetting a massive mathematical advantage that passive income has over earned income. There is a hidden superpower to that $200,000 that makes it feel more like $400,000 of earned salary. It has to do with how the government touches your money and how much it costs you to actually go to work. In the next part, I'm going to show you exactly what that lifestyle looks like and why your current view of rich is mathematically wrong. So, remember that hidden superpower I mentioned? It's time for a pop quiz. Question: if you earn $200,000 working a grueling 90-hour week at a law firm, and I earn $200,000 sitting on my couch collecting dividends, who has more money? You might think it's a tie, but you would be dead wrong. The U.S. tax code is written by people with capital, for people with capital. When you work a job, you pay ordinary income tax. At 200 grand a year, the federal government, plus FICA, plus state taxes, is taking a massive bite out of your paycheck before it ever hits your direct deposit. But my 200 grand comes from long-term capital gains. As of 2025, a married couple filing jointly pays 0%, yes, 0, on their first $96,000 of capital gains. The rest is taxed at just 15%. That means while the lawyer is bringing home maybe $11,000 a month after the government is done with him, the passive investor is bringing home nearly $15,000 or $16,000 a month. That is a $5,000 a month raise just for not having a job. Let's actually visualize what $16,000 of clean, monthly disposable income looks like in the real world. I'm not talking about a spreadsheet. I'm talking about your credit card statement. According to Rent Cafe's 2024 market analysis, the average rent in a high-cost city like Los Angeles or Miami is hovering around $3,000. Let's say you want luxury, so you double it. You spend $6,000 a month on a penthouse or a beautiful house with a pool. You still have $10,000 left over every single month. You spend $2,000 on top-tier food, Whole Foods, nice restaurants, Uber Eats whenever you want. You spend another $2,000 on travel. That's a first-class domestic flight and a great hotel for a weekend trip every month. You still have $6,000 left. You can lease a Porsche for $1,500. You still have $4,500 left. Do you see what's happening here? You are living a top 1% lifestyle, driving a luxury car, eating whatever you want, living in a prime location, and you still have thousands of dollars piling up in your checking account at the end of the month that you literally cannot spend fast enough without trying really hard. This is the state of financial velocity where your inflow exceeds your lifestyle cap. And notice, we haven't even touched the $5 million principal. That mountain of money is still sitting there, likely growing, fighting off inflation. You are completely safe. You don't have a boss to fire you. You don't have a client to yell at you. If you want to spend a Tuesday playing video games or learning to surf, you just do it. If that sounds like a plan you could get on board with, drop a comment below with the one luxury item you'd buy first. Would it be the car, the house, or just the plane ticket? I read every comment to see what you guys are dreaming about. But here is where the story takes a weird turn. You might be thinking, okay, Ben, if 5 million is this good, then 50 million must be 10 times better, right? And this is where human biology plays a cruel trick on us. There is a specific psychological ceiling where money stops adding happiness and actually starts creating a bizarre form of numbness. We assume that if we could just buy the $10 million mansion, we would feel permanently ecstatic. But science tells us that the euphoria of that purchase has a terrifyingly short expiration date. In the next part, I'm going to explain why buying a Ferrari feels normal after 3 weeks, and why chasing the billionaire status might actually break your brain. Have you ever wanted something so bad it actually physically hurt? Maybe it was the new iPhone, a specific pair of sneakers, or that dream car. You saved up, you bought it, you felt that rush of dopamine, and then, 3 weeks later, it was just a phone, it was just a car, it was just stuff. That feeling has a name. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation, and it is the single biggest reason why chasing $1 billion is a trap. Your brain is designed to return to a baseline level of happiness, no matter what happens to you. This is why we have the lottery winner curse. You would think that winning the Powerball is the golden ticket to eternal joy. But studies and real-life cases in the US have shown something terrifying. Many winners report that after the initial high wears off, usually within a year, they are no happier than they were before. In fact, many are significantly more miserable because their relationships are destroyed by greed and mistrust. They have the money, but they lost the peace. This brings us to the law of diminishing returns. Imagine you are starving and you eat a burger. That first burger is the best thing you have ever tasted. It saves your life. The second burger is pretty good. The third one makes you feel sick. Money works the same way. The first $50,000 you earn changes your life. It buys survival. The jump from 0 to 5 million is massive. It buys freedom. But the jump from 5 million to 50 million, it doesn't change your Tuesday. You are still sleeping in a bed. You are still eating 3 meals a day. And you can only drive one car at a time. The utility of the money collapses. A famous study out of the Wharton School in 2021 by Matthew Killingsworth showed that while money does correlate with happiness, the bang for your buck creates a steep curve. Once you have secured your safety and your freedom, which we established happens around that 5 million mark, the stress required to double your net worth often outweighs the tiny blip of happiness you get from buying a bigger boat. You have to ask yourself, are you trying to build wealth to impress strangers or to impress yourself? If you are doing it for the gram, you will never have enough, because there is always someone with a bigger yacht. But if you are doing it for freedom, there is a finish line, and you can cross it sooner than you think. If you want to master your psychology, so you can actually enjoy your money instead of just hoarding it, hit that subscribe button right now. We are building a community of people who are playing the game to win, not just to play forever. But listen, there is actually a darker reason to stop at 5 million. It's not just that the money stops making you happier. It's that going beyond that number introduces a new type of poison into your life. There is a time tax that billionaires pay that nobody talks about, and it involves a specific type of danger that comes when you put a target on your back. In the next part, I'm going to tell you why being rich and anonymous is infinitely better than being wealthy and famous. Let's play a quick imagination game. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are worth $100 million. You walk out your front door. Can you go to the grocery store in sweatpants? Probably not. Can you post a picture of your breakfast on Instagram without a security audit? No. Can you date someone without wondering if they are talking to a lawyer about your assets? Definitely not. Now open your eyes. That isn't freedom. That is a gilded cage. This is the time tax of extreme wealth. We have this fantasy that billionaires are just sitting on beaches drinking Mai Tais. The reality is that maintaining a 9-figure net worth is a full-time job. You are managing a family office. You have a staff of 20 people, lawyers, accountants, household managers, security teams. You are constantly being sued. You are a walking target for every scammer, hacker, and long-lost cousin who needs a loan. You have traded your time for money, and now you are spending all your time protecting that money. Contrast that with the $5 million life. At $5 million, you are invisible. You are the millionaire next door. You drive a nice SUV, you live in a great neighborhood, but nobody stops you on the street. You don't need bodyguards. You don't need a PR team. You can travel to Italy and sit in a cafe and nobody cares who you are. This is the sweet spot. It is the perfect balance of forget you money and nobody knows me peace. Naval Ravikant, a famous angel investor, often talks about this trade-off. He says the goal is to get rich, not famous, but beyond a certain net worth, fame, or at least infamy, becomes unavoidable. Your name ends up on lists. People start Googling you. The target on your back grows, and suddenly, the simplicity you worked so hard for is gone. You spent 40 years building a mountain of gold, only to realize you have to spend the rest of your life standing guard over it. And look, I get it. Some of you are ambitious. You want to change the world, build rockets, cure diseases. If that is your drive, then go for the billions. But if your goal is just to live a good life, to be happy, to spend time with your family, and to do what you want when you want, you do not need an empire. You just need a fortress. So the question becomes, how do we actually build that fortress? How does a normal person in their 20s or 30s actually hit that $5 million mark without getting lucky on a meme coin or inventing the next Facebook? It turns out, the path is shockingly simple, but it requires you to stop thinking in days and start thinking in decades. In the final part, I'm going to give you the blueprint, the reverse engineering of your freedom so you can stop dreaming and start executing. Here is the timeline shock that should scare you into action immediately. This is the math that punishes procrastination. If you want to hit that $5 million number by the time you are 60, and you start investing today at age 25, assuming a standard 10% annual return from the US stock market, you need to invest roughly $1,300 a month. That is a lot, but for a dual income household or a high earner, it is doable. But watch what happens if you wait. If you say, I'll worry about this later, and you wait until you are 35 to start, you don't just have to catch up on the payments you missed, you have lost the compound interest. To hit that same $5 million goal starting at 35, you now need to invest nearly $3,500 a month. You waited 10 years, but the difficulty didn't double, it nearly tripled. If you wait until 45, the number jumps to over $12,000 a month. The lesson? Time does 90% of the heavy lifting. If you are watching this and you are under 30, your greatest asset isn't your income. It is your calendar. So, how do you actually do this? You don't do it by skipping lattes. You do it by focusing on the 3 levers of wealth: income, spend, and invest. You need to aggressively increase your primary income, job hop every 2 years if you have to, learn high-value skills, or start a side business. You keep your spending fixed, avoid the lifestyle creep we talked about earlier, and then you pour every drop of surplus cash into boring, diversified assets like index funds or real estate. But there is one final trap you need to avoid, and this is the one that catches the smart people. It is called one more year syndrome. I see this all the time in the FIRE community: financial independence, retire early. People hit their $5 million number. They are free. But fear kicks in. They say, just one more year to be safe. Then 1 year becomes 5. They keep working jobs they hate to stockpile money they will never spend. You have to make a contract with yourself today. Pick your number. Maybe it's 5 million. Maybe for you, it's 3 million. Write it down. When you hit that number, you declare victory, you walk away. You don't let the goalpost move. The ultimate superpower in the 21st century isn't having unlimited money. It is having the ability to say, this is enough. When you have enough, you become untouchable. You stop being a slave to the algorithm, to your boss, and to your own insecurity. You win the game by leaving the casino. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video gave you a new target to aim for, one that is actually reachable and leads to a life of freedom, not just stress. If you got value from this, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people who need to hear this. I want to know if you are ready to play this game. Drop a one-word comment below. Freedom. Let's confuse the algorithm and show them we are focused on the finish line. Also, if you want to help this video spread, hit that like or hype button right now. I'll see you in the next one.